I'm Megan, and thank you for joining me today for a somatic yin practice. And Michael is here with me today, and we're going to be working on shoulders. He tends to have a little bit of tightness in the front area of his chest, does a lot of sitting at computers. So if you're a person that does a lot of sitting, particularly hunching over computers, this is a great practice for you. As usual, we'll have everything will be in sets. So we'll start each set with a somatic movement and exploration to see what your range of motion is, get familiar with that area in your body, feel the muscles moving through that range of motion, and then we'll settle into a still and quiet yin practice that will focus on that area of movement. So a few props you might want is definitely grab some blankets if you don't keep those around. That's nice to have if you want a pillow for your head. You can also put a blanket on top of your mat if you want more padding. So make it comfortable for yourselves. And we will be starting down on our back today. So I'm going to come behind you here, Michael, and if you would like to come down onto your back. And you can hug your knees in or roll around, do anything you want to get your back and spine comfortable. So a hard and fast rule to me about working with the shoulders and the arms, because that's our focal point today, is that it's really hard to do that if your low back is uncomfortable. So I know that Michael likes to extend his legs. So what I'll do with him is take, if you have a bolster or blanket you want to roll in or anything like that, is go ahead and you can take your legs out, but I'm going to support his knees. Because what that does is that feel better?
Sure.
It allows you to relax your low back more. Sometimes when we extend the legs, it'll lift the low back and cause a contraction in the low back. So you can shake out your legs. Okay, so we're going to start with the somatic movement today. And the area of focus will be the back of the shoulder blades. So this one, I like to call it rope climbing, and we're going to go rope climbing into steeple hands. If you like names, I'll throw those at you. So you're going to reach your hands straight up towards the sky, both arms, with the palms facing one another. And just reach up for a moment and feel how there's almost a disconnect between the upper arm bones and the shoulder socket. Now keep reaching with the fingertips, but simultaneously press the shoulder blades down into the ground. So is there a sense of plugging in your upper arm bones into your shoulders, into your shoulder girdle? So it's not just the arm bone hanging out by itself, but that connection of I'm reaching forward, but I'm also plugging in my arm bones into my shoulder blades. And then we're going to start the climb. So I'll have you start with your left arm because that's closer to the camera. So you're going to, if you want to do it to your breath, you can inhale up and exhale release, but you're going to reach your fingertips up. And notice what it feels like to just reach the arm, and then exhale, let it come down. Now imagine trying to lift the fingertips from the shoulder blade. Do that left arm just a few times and come down. Yeah. So you feel the stretch through the shoulder blade, and then releasing back down. Palms are facing one another, and the hands are right over the front of the shoulder. So arms straight up and down or 90 degrees from the spine. Do one more with just that left arm. And then let's switch. Reach your right fingertips, feel that right shoulder blade lift up, and then drop it back down. So if you're doing it to your breath, you can lift the effort on the inhale, and the ease of just letting it drop back down on the exhale. So I like to imagine like you're climbing a rope. And then just take a few and alternate sides. So reach through the left arm and lift that shoulder blade, and then let it come down. Reach to the right arm and let it come down. And last one. And then let your hands drop. Sometimes there's a little bit of fatigue with this one, so we're going to let your hands drop. We're going to do one more. So that's more the arm. And you can notice too, if you do this kind of stuff at your desk, you could easily do that seated, right? It's a seated position too. But I'm not just reaching my arm, I'm letting my shoulder blade move or thinking of moving my arm from my shoulder blade. So the next one, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to create a bit more of a rotation through the torso. You can take the arms back up again, but take the palms together and cross the thumbs. So now we have like steeple shape. And it's really important to keep the steeple shape. We don't want to bend the elbows. So you're going to alternate sides again. So you're going to inhale, lift that left shoulder blade up off the ground, and imagine rolling onto your right shoulder blade. There you go, let your head and neck follow. And then exhale, come back. Nice. Inhale, reach through the right shoulder blade. Lift right shoulder blade, roll onto the left. And exhale, come back. Beautiful. So you can see it's the whole shoulder you're going to continue on. The whole shoulder girdle is rotating. So I'm noticing Michael's head is lifting a little bit off the ground. If you're at home and that's happening, put something underneath your head. You want to always feel like your head can just roll with your arms, but without lifting off the ground. Is that better?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you're rotating your body from your shoulders and your arms, your shoulder girdle. Take your time. Just let your head and neck relax. Keep the jaw soft. Let it follow your hands. Keep the legs quiet and relaxed. So you feel yourself initiating from a shoulder area. And maybe just one or two more. If you find your end point and you want to hold out there for a few breaths, just feeling it. So notice the action of the shoulder blade stretching. So that if the shoulder blade's stretching, you're going to tighten a little bit in these front chest muscles. Good for you? Yeah. All right, relax the arms down. Nice. And maybe just roll your shoulders around a little bit. And then you're going to roll onto your left side. So you'll be facing the camera. And we're going to go into the yin posture. So here I'm going to check his head, and I know that I don't want his head to drop down to where it's uncomfortable, so I'm going to put this a little bit higher, just to start. All right, and then we're going to open up the back of, we'll do the left shoulder blade first. So you're going to take your left hand all the way up to the height of the shoulder, palm facing up. Nice, that feel okay?
Yep.
If you feel like you don't have enough space on your mat, you can move more towards the back of the mat, but you're going to slowly drop your right hip and shoulder towards the floor. So you're rolling back onto your belly, and that'll give you a natural, just let that fall. So you're going to start to roll onto your belly. I'm going to take that out from underneath you. Yep, so what you should feel is a stretch going through the left back of the shoulder blade. So just your weight. Does that feel like too much? Can you stay there though? So this is the one we're going to hold. This is the yin pose. You can take your right arm wherever you want. If this isn't underneath your head enough, we can support it. Okay, yeah. Yeah. And depending on how far we're coming into that shoulder, you can also, so he's using the blanket as a pillow. You can also bring your right arm in and rest your head on your right arm. Just another option. So you want to try that and see how that feels? Show that one. Yeah, how's that for you? And that gives you a little bit of stretch through that right shoulder blade too. So what we want to feel is broad through the upper back, but particularly through the left shoulder. So I'm going to watch our time here, and we'll be here for about 3 minutes. And with all yin postures, it's not forced. It's a feeling of falling, is the way I like to think of it, is the muscles are relaxed now. So you'll notice that maybe even the left palm of the hand is real soft and the fingers curl in very naturally. But feel the line all the way from the fingertips through the arm and into that upper left shoulder blade. We try to remain still. Reasons to move would be if you're completely uncomfortable, or if you feel like your body could go deeper. And deepening this one would mean rolling further onto your belly, so dropping the right hip more to the floor. But for Michael, he looks like he's pretty comfortable keeping the right hip stacked on top of the left as opposed to coming all the way down to the belly. And just feeling that area of tension, so tension meaning stretching in that upper left shoulder blade. I like to go into that left shoulder blade on more of a energetic focus, in that you can think of the back of your heart and maybe the heart as a physical muscle, but also energetically the back of the heart door, and just breathing into that space in and around the left shoulder blade, the inner left shoulder blade. Even if you don't feel your physical breath there, imagine breathing in that space between the shoulder blade and the ribs and your upper left back. Think of the heart moving along with your breath, with the diaphragm. And when we take these nice, full, conscious, but unforced breaths, your diaphragm is moving the sac around your heart, so it's like it's giving your heart a little massage here and that back area. We'll take about another minute, just be still in this space. Feel the right side of the body just falling to the floor. Keeping presence and awareness. Find what feels still and quiet and relaxed in your body. Notice what feels noisy. It's all just part of that introspection of feeling yourself from the inside out. Are there any muscles that could be more relaxed? Any bones that could release more into the ground underneath you? Breathing into the back of the left lung. Take about 5 to 8 more rounds of breath. Even the weight of the head is heavy towards the ground. When you're ready to come out of this one, you'll want to slowly roll back first onto the left side body and then all the way onto your back. But roll out just like you're coming out of bed. There's something under your head. Put the head down. Yeah, okay. There we go. And in between, this is really just one pose, 2 sides to one pose. So in between, if you just want to be still, you can. I like to come back onto my back and do a couple more of those rope reaches, just see if you can feel a difference, but you can also just be still in between. So think of lifting from the shoulder blade, that's it.
Left arm feels a lot different.
Your left arm feels different, yeah? Keep the palms from sliding. All right, and then come down. So now he's gonna have his back to you, but that's okay. You'll see his shoulder blade area. We're gonna roll onto your right side and take the right arm out in front of you, thumb to about the height of the shoulder. Yep, last time you ended up using your arm. So then you're gonna slowly drop the left shoulder blade and maybe the hip too, maybe not, down towards the ground, that's it. And when you first come in, you might create some resistance. Press the back of the hand, the back of that right hand into the ground. Notice the resistance, that feeling in the muscles hugging the bones, right? And then let it go. So sometimes to know if you're letting go, the best thing to do is create tension, right? So if we purposely create tension and then release it, it gives us the sensation of what does it feel like to have tension and then release it. And then we're going to go into that right shoulder blade area. Make any adjustments. He's using his left hand and arm as a pillow. If that doesn't work, you could also put a blanket underneath your head. And focusing on that area of upper right back. You can even imagine breathing into your right lung, the back of the right lung. It's still in the area, not physically as much as in the area of heart, because that's more on the left side, but it's still there, particularly the space between the shoulder blades and the back of the heart door. Whether you physically breathe into that area or just mindfully aware of the space in and around the right shoulder blade, the upper right ribs, Even the position of the arms themselves. Feel the compression in the upper right arm and just let the weight of the body fall into that right arm. Soften the palm of the hand and let the fingers curl into whatever position they want to curl into. Find what's still, find what's moving. Physically trying to remain still unless you feel like you need to back out, or if you want to try to drop the left shoulder and hip more to the floor, you can do that as well. Just depends on our on our level of stretching. So for me, I can get the hip all the way down to the ground where I'm flat. See, I'm just showing off for you. But we don't have to do that. Breathing into that area of shoulder blade. Just notice the difference between compression in the front of the chest and the shoulders and the arms, and that compression in your right arm particularly. And then the broadness through your upper back, creating space to breathe into the backs of the lungs. Be here for about another minute or so. Settle in, enjoy the ride. Check to see your jaws relaxed. And you can feel the weight of the head just falling down. You can send a little bit of love into the back of that right shoulder blade. Space between the shoulder blades and the back of the heart. So a lot of times we hunch for much of the day, so we think, well, this is already stretching, but this is a whole different kind of stretch. This is getting into more of the connective tissues, relaxing the muscles, a deeper, more fully aware stretch for the upper back. Breathing into the upper back. Take about 5 to 8 more breaths. When you're ready to roll out, you can come on, so especially if you're all the way onto your belly, come back onto your right side first, slowly rolling out. And then from the right side, after you come onto your right side, you can go all the way back onto your back. I'm going to put this blanket back underneath your head here.
Thank you.
Yep. And this is where we have completed the posture, so you have a minute to yourself. You could be still and just breathe into your shoulders. You could go back to the somatic movement. You could just roll your shoulders. I'm going to leave that up. These are just some suggestions, right? Roll your shoulders around, move your head around. Just be still and think of breathing into your upper back. See, thank you to your backside for all the protection that it brings you, that it affords you. Okay. So we're going to switch now. We're going to work into the front. So we're going to stretch the front of the shoulders, the inner arms, all the way down through the palms. And we'll be doing the right arm first, so you'll be able to see. So I'm going to have you roll onto your left side all the way. And then again, I know for Michael, if I may remove this for a moment, if his head comes down, that's really not comfortable. It's not touching the ground. So if you're like that, you're going to want to support your head. That's not high enough, is it?
Nope.
You want it at a neutral position. But this time, if you are supporting your head, You want to make sure that whatever is there also comes behind your head because you're going to be rolling your head. And then you're going to take your right arm so that it's up to the height of the shoulder, a little bit higher.
Left arm.
Excuse me, left arm, thank you. And then you're going to take your right arm on top of that and take, just, they don't have to touch, but kind of let the hands come together. So right now you're going to notice that stretch in your upper right back where we were before, right? You're going to slowly slide, so this is sliding hands. You're going to slowly slide that right hand down your left arm. As you do that, the elbow will bend and the head just follows. Maybe just go to the elbow the first time and then slide back. So this is the somatic movement to explore. Each time you go, you can take that right hand a little further and the right shoulder blade closer to the ground. Adjust this a little bit. I'm going to pull this way. There we go. So as the shoulder blade comes closer to the ground, you're going to intensify the stretch through the front of the pectoral region. As the shoulder blade comes down, you can begin to drop the right elbow towards the floor and maybe even extend the right arm out. And then we close it back up. Make sure you're moving from your shoulders, not your hips. Arms go first.
But my hips can go once I've got my shoulder.
Yes, your hips can go, but you're rotating from your shoulders. There you go. That's it. And letting the head go. And you can really play with this one. It's just creating rotation. And you feel the upper back. So you're really still getting the stretch in through your upper back too. But as you open and drop that right shoulder blade, notice how you feel the stretch across the front line, the inner arm, and just letting your head roll. Nice. You can go one breath per movement. I like to open on the inhalation and close back up on the exhale, or go even slower. Take a few breaths to come to your fully expansive position. And if the right shoulder blade doesn't come all the way down to the ground, then instead of extending the arm, because you'll actually strain the front of the shoulder, just keep the elbow bent and take the elbow to the ground. Yeah, that feels different, right? Than extending the arm. So the extension is really going to take you right into the head of the arm bone there, versus keeping the elbow bent and dropping the elbow in the shoulder blade to the ground. So you can play with that. Nice. We're just really, this one is, I have other videos if you want to look at them. This is creating spirals in the body. In this particular spiral, we're initiating from the arms, just the arms sliding, arms and shoulders, and the head follows and the pelvis follows. So we're initiating from the arms and shoulders and letting the tail and the tongue follow. We'll do one or two more in that direction. Nice, and we'll come back. And then we're gonna go in the opposite direction. So you can pause for a moment and come onto your backside first. Yeah, resituate yourself. And then you're gonna roll onto your right side. Make sure that blanket's where you want it, you got it. Good. Take the right arm out so that the thumb's at about the height of the shoulder. Yep, and take the left palm on top of the right, so now see the back view. And start to slowly slide that left arm down the right arm. So maybe just to the elbow at first, and then take it back. And you can move from the arm, you can even move from your fingers, but also think of moving a few of these from your left shoulder blade. So drawing that shoulder blade down to the ground. So you're getting that benefit of feeling the stretching, the skin stretch in the front of the left shoulder, and even in the inner arm line. Yeah, Michael's keeping his elbow bent. I like to see that, especially until the shoulder blade's on the ground. And then if the shoulder blade makes it to the ground, you can try extending the arm out. Yeah, and the pelvis follows it over. And the head is following so nicely. Tail and tongue just responding to this movement from the upper spine and chest. Moving from our thoracic spine which is a lot less mobile. You can go slower or faster, initiating from the upper body. So watch if you're at home that your pelvis is not taking you into the rotation. It's your arms and your shoulders. You can also use your arms and shoulders to come out of the rotation. Make the pelvis wait its turn. Just explore that.
Yeah, there's more stretch if you keep the pelvis behind.
He just said there's more stretch if you keep the pelvis behind. Yes. And also just checking to make sure the head is heavy. We're not straining to lift the neck. It's supported, and the head is just following the movement of the arm. Have you go one more this way. And then before we go into our yin stretch, if you'd like to play with going both directions, you can. So you could go all the way to there and then take the arm, right arm across, but your head would not lift. We would leave the head on the blankets. And slide that way. And take that across, left arm, so you're going both directions. Try to lead from your shoulders. If you want, you can do both, do both sides. Feel that full body spiral from the crown of your head all the way to the tips of your toes. Think of initiating that movement from your shoulder area, the chest. Good. Do one or two more. Just exploring. Exploring the twist. Okay. So then the next one we do is we're going to do a yin posture to open the front of the shoulder. And I am going to have you come onto your abdomen. So you're going to roll onto your abdomen. This is the hold part. Take your time. I'm going to move that away for a moment. So let's do we've been doing right arm first. So I'm going to have you take your right arm to the side of your body so that the palm is facing down. So let's see if we can get the front of the shoulder down. There we go. So if you find there's a lot of tightness, particularly in the head of the arm bone in this front shoulder area, you might, he's saying yes, you might want to slide your arm further down towards your hip because it's just a little bit less aggressive down there. So with him, that's usually a pretty good position. Know that you can start with something softer, and if it feels okay, you can slide your hand higher up, thumb to the height of the shoulder, but we're going to start from there. And then he's going to slowly press into his left hand to roll onto the front of the right shoulder. So you're going to roll onto your right side. Pressing into left hand. There you go. And you can stack your knees. Your knees can go wherever you'd like. That's it. You feeling that? Yeah. So where you're going to feel it is right through the front of the right shoulder area. Your head looks to be okay. So right now he's got a little bit of a death grip with that left hand holding him. So I'm just going to see if you can, once you find your position, and finding the position might include pressing that right hand into the ground to feel the muscles, right? But then let that go. Yeah. And then see if you can let that left arm go too.
Where does it go?
Wherever you want. So if we need to support it, yep, you could take it there. I can put something underneath it. I will add to this one, I know I'm behind him, but there is a foot step we do. So if you want to do a hip stretch as well with this one, when the arm is out to the side, I know you're here, you can step the top leg back and just open the hips a little bit, just an option, but we're focusing mostly on arms and shoulders. Yeah, I think for you, we're going to stay there. All right, so we're in the front of that right shoulder area. So we've created tension, right, in the front of the right shoulder, but not the kind of tension that is squeezing. That's what we always think of tension is, like something that's cutting us off or constricting us. It's just the opposite. Tension is the skin stretching. Feel the skin stretching through the front of that left shoulder and enjoy that feeling of spaciousness in the right shoulder, the front of the right shoulder. Let the hand relax. Notice the little air space, air pocket underneath your right palm. And feel that all the way through the inner arm. Sensing the space from fingertips right to the head of the arm bone, and then even in and around that right collarbone. The weight of the body is completely supported by the earth. So we don't have to do anything anymore. You can just be still. And we'll be here for about another minute. Get yourself settled in, stay present. Know that your mind will wander off. Just bring it back. Bring it back to the places where you feel lots of sensation. Or try to find the areas in your body that feel quiet and calm. Own it all. See what it wants to say today. Get to know yourself through your bones. Feel that line, your right collarbone coming into the right shoulder. The way the collarbone supports your arm in the shoulder joint. So, last minute or so, if you're at home and you want to deepen it, you can slide your hand a little bit higher up, but otherwise keep it right where it is. Or the other thing is you can roll further, right? But just the right amount of weight and compression in that shoulder. We don't want to go so far. You'll know, because if you can't soften your lips, you're gritting your teeth. Check your breath. Your breath should still be smooth. The head can be heavy. Relax that right cheek on the ground. Soften the jaw. And feel yourself through that whole inner right arm line, from the front of the chest to the inner right arm. And as we come out, this one's a little bit easier to come out of, I think. You can slowly roll back onto your belly, let that left hip fall down to the ground, and then just once you're back on your belly, let that right arm come down. We'll pause for a moment before we do the second side. That feel okay? You can roll it around a little bit. So second side, left arm will go out to your side. So once again, if you know you've got lots of space and comfort in the front of the shoulder, but this is a really tight area, like this is a trigger area for a lot of people, right? Especially if you're hunched, if you're at a computer a lot. So you go slow, go in with care and consideration, and that might be bringing the hand further down towards the hip. And then you're going to use the right hand this time, press into the right hand. You might want to flip your head towards your right hand. And then slowly roll onto the front of that left shoulder. As you're doing it, press into the hand. Keep it active to come into it. So you're sort of protecting the joints. You want to keep the muscles hugging the bones to come in. And then once you get to where you know it's a safe space, then relax that whole left arm line. You can also relax your right arm. Yeah. Legs can be straight, or you can stack your knees. I'm gonna hug the camera from you for a moment. So you can see he's got his hips stacked. If I were to take my arm out to the side, I could do the same thing, stack my arms, but I could also step that right foot back if I want to stretch my hips a little bit more. The other thing is top arm could come around as well if it's available. If your right shoulder is stacked on top of the left, if you're a little bit further, you can take your right arm around and open the front of the right shoulder too. Otherwise, keep this one down here. Keep it down for support, just like Michael's doing. Yeah, right. Take it back down for support. Like I said, this is Somatic Yin Yin for real shoulders, not yoga student, teacher shoulders, but real people's shoulders. Yeah.
Hello.
There you go. And just relaxing into that space up front of the left shoulder. Think of all those tissues. And just let the weight of the body fall into that area of tissue. Feel your left collarbone. Breathe underneath your left collarbone so you can regenerate with cells just by being aware of that space. Breathing into the upper left lung. The lungs come all the way under the collarbones. That lovely left collarbone area. Left cheek is soft on the ground. And if I'm quiet enough, maybe you can even feel your heart beating, or hear your heart beating. The hand is soft. Notice the way the palm is supported by the ground. And feel that all the way. You've got the hands maybe slightly tented with a little space of air underneath the palm, and feel that it's like the air could come all the way up through your wrist and your elbow and that inner arm line right up to the front of the collarbone area, chest. Not forcing, just feeling, relating, accepting. Acceptance and acknowledgement, big part of yin postures, I think. Take your last few breaths. Feel those spaces where the tissues are stretching. Maybe even notice the spaces where there's compression in your body. And invite it all. And when you're ready to come out, you can slowly slide back onto your belly. Out of the way here, and we'll take a full minute just for you, see what you need to do. So you could be still. Yep, one option, Michael's kind of there, is a cross opposite arm to elbow, rest forehead in a crocodile pose. You could also press back into a child's pose with arms extended if you want to stretch the upper back, so more of a counter pose. Or just being still, but take this minute for yourself, maybe even need a down dog. Who knows? Yeah. And these are areas that really we tend to neglect, until we have pain in our shoulders, or often the pain might manifest in the neck, but the tightness is in the shoulders, or it could be the other way around, tightness in the shoulders, pain manifests in the neck. But until that happens, we ignore it. We allow ourselves to sit with that rounded back. So next I'm going to do, we're going to come on to, actually I'll give you the option of doing it seated or lying down. I'm going to have you do it lying down, and I'm going to do it seated, so you'll see both. We're going to do the cactus arms. Okay. Yeah, so this is the somatic movement first again, before we do the yin. So with this one again, we want the low back relaxed. You're welcome to extend your legs. I am going to bring a blanket in underneath your knees. You want to keep them bent, or you want that?
I'll keep them bent.
Okay, so he's going to keep it bent. And then your head actually looks like your shoulders are coming down, and I like that.
Amazing.
Yeah, I am going to put just a little bit of padding underneath this head, just so it feels good. And then you're going to slide your arms to the height of your shoulders like a T. There we go. So that's really important. We want to keep just the elbows to the height of the shoulders. What will happen is they'll start trying to creep down. Don't let them. Keep them right here. So upper arms are going to stay at this height. Now bend your elbows and bring your fingers up towards the sky. Turn your palms towards the legs and drop the palms in the hands so they're relaxed. We already slid down. There you go. And then just we're going to learn internal and external rotation for this one. let the hands fall forward. So what'll happen is the arm bones will rotate inward, internal rotation. You feel that? So notice how the upper back, the upper shoulders are lifting off the ground. Notice that? Yeah? Oh yeah. And then lift back up. So that's internally rotating the arm bones. Now exhale, let the hands fall towards the floor behind you. The arm bones are externally rotating. So rotating away, and notice how the tops of the shoulders are pressing into the ground. You might even feel a little arch in your back here. Yeah, so we're gonna do that a couple times. So inhale, arms up. Keep your hands relaxed. Remember not to let the elbows slide down. And think of your arm bones rolling like rolling pins. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come back up. We'll tighten the internal rotation.
Just a shade.
And exhale, come down. Yeah, miss elbow.
What's up with that?
There you go. Inhale, lift up. So just let them, think of them like nice wipers, soft wipers on a car. Just moving in the rain. There you go. Just wiping. Relax the hands and the wrists. Think of moving from your upper arm bones and across the shoulder girdle. So your shoulder blades and your collarbones are both involved, these two areas that we already worked with.
Never noticed that I couldn't do that before.
Get out of your way. Okay, so now that you've done both together a couple times, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to alternate. So as you exhale, one arm will come down and the other arm will be up. So if you wanted to do the seated, you can do it seated. I'm here. And you could do, there's my exhale. The tricky part is you want to drop your elbows down. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So we can also do it seated, and I'm showing you that partially because it's actually more effective on the ground. So I like that Michael's doing it on the ground. However, if you're in a seat and you're at work, this is a really nice way to go to get that internal and external rotation. There's actually a lot more work to do it this way, especially to lift your elbows. So now we're going to add the head to this. So as you exhale, I want you to turn your head towards the upper hand. Give yourself the upper hand. Exhale back. And then same thing, roll back to the center, and then exhale to the upper hand. So let it go really smooth. One of the things I'll see a lot is that people start to try to lift their head. Let the head, the weight of the head, be supported by the ground. Check that those elbows haven't slid all the way down to your waist. So just,
done my arm all before.
It's just a little cheat. It's a little compensation that happens. So you got to keep those elbows up there. We don't care if the hands touch the ground. You're just letting them flock back and forth.
You don't care. I care.
We're working on it. We're learning internal and external rotation. So the bottom arm is in the internal. Notice those muscles. Top arm is in the external. And then do the same thing with the arms, but I want you to look at the bottom arm. Just turn towards the bottom arm. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the bottom arm. Lovely.
I'll never be one of those bendy people.
He is not hypermobile, but a wonderful yogi, I do know. Nice. How's it feel, though?
Feels good.
Feels good, right? Okay, slide the elbows up one more time and do one more round without cheating. There you go.
Oh, that's why I was feeling good. Huh?
That's why it's feeling good. Relax your hands and your wrists. Relax your hands and your wrists. See, we do this. We try to tighten. We try to brace ourselves. You want the flop, right? We're falling on the exhale. Just you're flopping. There's no effort. There's no pushing. You get to go wherever your body wants you to fall. This is not forced. This is not forced fun. It's just fun, right? You want the head just swoosh back and forth. Nice soft wave of your breath. Nice, last one. Okay, so now we are ready for the cow face arms, Gomukhasana arms. So we're going to show it, Michael is going to do it seated for you. I will also show it lying down. Take your time getting up. So now we have some familiarity. Do you want something to sit on? So if you're comfortable seated or any position you like to sit on, anything, we'll do that. So now we're familiar with that internal and external rotation. So let's take that into posture. So you're going to take your right arm out to your side, and you're going to turn your thumb downward. So notice that's internally rotating the arm, right? And then reach around towards your low back with that right arm. That's it. So you feel the internal rotation?
Oh, yeah.
Let's just start from there. Keep the crown of the head high. And then the left arm is going to go into that external rotation. So imagine it falling back. Just let the hand fall back a little bit. And then reach around and bring the elbow up towards the sky. So this is cow face. I'm going to show it from here. So I'll do opposite, left hand, right. So sometimes we're just here, letting our hands rest. If you can bring your hands together, that's fine. Go for it. If not, the other way to do it is you have your left arm is on top arm. I'll do right. You can bring a strap in there and grab that strap. Do you want a strap or do you want to stay there?
I'm good like this.
Okay.
Because I'll pull it if I have it.
Yeah, that's the problem. He just pointed out something really important is that a lot of times if I give people a strap, they pull. And that's great in a regular asana class, but not when you're holding it for yin posture. So that feels okay. Mm-hmm. If the hand is in any way causing discomfort in your neck or pushing your head forward like a turtle, you can take the hand more to the outer shoulder as opposed to right behind the neck. And then just hug the arm in, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we don't want to push the head forward. Yeah, so you're in one arm. The interesting thing again is the bottom arm is an internal rotation, the top arm is an external rotation. You can fall forward. If we wanted to add the legs to this, you actually did legs. You want to do legs or no legs? Just stay in your seated position. We could do the legs in this position would be the left leg crosses on top of the right. So some of you know cow face, yeah? And we're here. The other way I like to do this one is lying down. So I could take that same position, and if you're just not comfortable seated, come down and lay on your back with your arms in those two positions. That's the other option. Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple more minutes here. How's it feeling? We won't hold this one quite as long because it can be pretty intense for your arms. The other option is there to forward fold, but generally that deepens it more into your hips, maybe a little bit into the upper back, but more of a hip sensation, yeah. So you have to decide with yin. I always think of yin as like restorative yoga on steroids, that on a scale of 1 to 10, you can be more in a range of 1 to 3 with very little or almost no sensation, or you can take yourself to that 10 and be very deep into the tissues and into relating to almost to the point of discomfort in your body, right? Maybe there is discomfort in your body. Not almost, maybe there is, right?
Or you have no choice.
Yes, or the discomfort is just there in the first place. But see if it starts to melt off, right?
It does, actually.
The more we fight it, the less likely it's going to disappear, right?
True.
It's true with everything. You got to acknowledge it. Right? So you can keep letting the arms soften, or if you're there and you want to go deeper, you can go deeper into it. The more we try to avoid something, the more it's going to come after you. So don't avoid it, be present. Breathe into it. Let your body speak. Watch that the neck isn't popping forward. So if you feel like you're feeling tension in the neck at all, then take the ponytail, low ponytail on your nose back just a little bit. Slide your head back. So like the bottom of your skull slides towards the back of your neck. Just keep that space. We'll take about 5 to 8 more breaths here. Relax the hips and thighs if you're in the leg position. And then when you're ready to come out, you can do one arm at a time. Maybe just the left arm reaches up first. And you can drop that down and then take that right arm out. And I usually like to give myself a little hug in between there. It feels good, right? Hug either way, both ways. But then we're also going to do it. We're going to do a little somatic one because we've got two sides to this one and it's pretty intense. Yeah, you can stretch your legs out first, however you want. So we're going to do palms together. This one is called Aura Sweep. Palms together and elbows together. However you want to sit. And then as we inhale, we begin to lift up. And you can follow your gaze at your hands and exhale, draw the elbows back down and around. So just moving this whole area of tissues, the whole upper chest, arms. That's another great one to do in a chair. Just all on its own. It doesn't have to be part of a practice. Feel that. Nice. Does it feel good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get warm in here.
As you come up, see if you can turn your palms towards the crown of the head and then draw the elbows back and down. Yeah. We'll do one more circle. And back down. All right, so do you want to do the legs first before we do the cow face arms? I think that was, yeah, that's a little hard. So if we're doing the legs, this time your right leg will be on top. Didn't you have left leg on top last time?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you did. I thought, okay, we'll do the opposite. Do whichever leg you haven't had on top. So this time the left arm is going to be about the bottom arm, so take it out to your side. Thumb pointing down, internally rotate.
That's why it was hard, because I had the legs
Yeah.
switched.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't hard before.
And then reach around behind you. So you're going to notice that shoulder's going to come forward. Remember when we were on the ground, the shoulder lifted away from the ground. But don't let the head come forward. Keep your head aligned. You can slide that hand either just towards the middle of the back, or you can go middle and up. That's going to intensify it, right?
Right.
And then the right arm is going to reach up. So it's all in, take your time finding the position. And I imagine you can drop the arm back, or I imagine I have a doorknob, or maybe I'm adjusting my shower, and you're gonna turn outward. Turn that outward, so turn the arm bone outward, and then drop it back. Yeah, and we initially always drop the head when we come into that, but if you find your neck is forward, see if you can take the soft palate back a little bit in your mouth, yeah? And then if that hand is pushing into your neck, if it's not far enough down, then just move the hand to the outer right shoulder a little bit more. How's that feel?
Good. I noticed if I put my backhand further, like on my side over here, it really intensifies it a lot.
Right.
If I stay in the middle, it's much easier.
Yeah, so those are different ways, as he just said, to intensify it. Is the hand could slide towards the opposite hip more is going to intensify it, or sliding up your back towards the center of the spine, towards the back of the heart, either one of those. And there's not a right or wrong. There's a right or wrong for you. And if you're in this position, you can stay more upright with your spine, or you can also bow forward from your hip crease to deepen the stretch through your hips. Nice. Beautiful. Gomukhasana. Welcome to the land of cows, of dairy cows.
Why is this the cow pose?
I never quite understood how this looks like a cow face, but use your imagination. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Moo. Enjoy. I think this used to be my nemesis pose, so maybe that's why I'm cracking jokes and being a little bit lighthearted. There are some poses that if you are a bit more playful, maybe even like a toddler, explore it with that mindset instead of getting that adult, I'm gonna get this right? Let go of that. Just have fun with it. We'll take our last few breaths. You're finding the right tuning for yourself, the right intensity. Remember, that's the most important thing with yin, because we're here in these holds and you can take yourself really far or you can back off. When you're ready to come out, yeah, one arm at a time. Lovely, lovely. Shake it out. Oh, yeah. And then the other one. And we'll follow that up. You can take your legs out with just a little bit of halo pose where you take your hand. You can sit in any position. Take your hands into a basket. And then you're going to lift them up and put them right over the crown of your head. Watch so your head doesn't turtle forward. And then just make some circles over the top of your head. Go really slow and draw the elbows as far out one way and the other as you can. Yeah, so think of like you're washing your upper back and your chest area, these areas that we've been stretching, right?
I'm polishing my halo.
Yes, he's polishing his halo. Looks good, very polished. All right, so you've been polishing clockwise. Let's go the other direction. Nice. Relax the jaw and the ears and the eyes. Nice tall spine. Think of moving through this whole shoulder girdle, this whole area. And we'll finish with that today. And we'll get ready to come down. If you feel like you want to do a seated meditation for final relaxation, you can. The other thing is you don't have to come onto your back. So a couple of options. If you wanted to come into a child's pose for final relaxation, you could. You could even take the arms out in front of you, which is more of a stretch for the upper back and the length of the arms. The other thing you could do is head to the ground and backs of the hands to the floor, and if your head doesn't touch the floor, you'd put something underneath your head, and this really gives that upper shoulder area a big spread. Or if you feel like you've got one more yin pose and you want to even come into a puppy type pose or anahata asana for your final rest, your call. We're going to give it about 4 minutes in one quiet space. So where would you like to go? You want to rest?
I don't know.
Oh, all these decisions.
I'll just
see?
feel it out.
All right, he's filling it out. I'm going to bring the blanket in.
Thank you.
Yes, and let your palms fall. So he's getting a nice upper back stretch, letting the belly just relax onto the thighs. So back to opening the back door in the back of our body, the unseen, usually not unheard. We oftentimes feel our back, right? But the unseen. And if you're in this position, you might gently even roll your forehead into the ground. But if you know you'd just rather be in a seated position or on your back, fully relaxed, trust your instincts, your intuition, where you need to be. But I encourage you to breathe into all of these areas we just worked in. Think of the space from your fingertips all the way through your wrists, your elbows, shoulder joints, and across to the front of the body, to your sternum area and your collarbones, and your back body through the shoulder blades all the way to the center of the spine. Finishing in a space of quiet and ease. Just you and your breath. You breathe in and you breathe out. You expand and you contract. All things we experienced in our practice. It's still going on even as the physical body still. We notice the change in the movement in the body through the breath, through our thoughts. And taking the last minute or so to really acknowledge whatever it is that's in your heart. We listened to a great talk this morning by Gil Headley. He's one of my favorites. The Fuzz speech, if you've never heard of it. And he Did a whole very meaningful meditation and awareness into the heart. And understanding that your heart is not just a pump or a muscle, but your heart is an extension of yourself through every point within your body. Think of all of those miles and miles of vessels in your body that your heart is always pumping, making its way through your body. And that the heart field itself expands as much as 12 feet outside of your body. Pretty amazing. Feel yourself from the center of the heart, but see your heart as extending into all parts of your being, down to the tips of your toes, through the arms into the tips of the fingers, through the neck and into the head. Space for acknowledgement. Acknowledgement of whatever you're feeling, whatever you're saying. But acknowledging from your heart space instead of from your head. Make your last few breaths, wherever you're resting. And you can work your way up. Kindly using your arms if you want. If you're in that position, take your time. I want to thank Michael for being here with me today. I hope this was helpful. I like to work with a partner to show you that all of our bodies are different. So how I approach a pose might be very different than how you do it at home. And since I unfortunately don't have the luxury of seeing you and making personal suggestions for you, just know that your instinct and intuition would override whatever I would say to you anyhow. It's about you feeling in your body and deciding what's right for you, especially with these very still practices. So thank you. You can take your hands to the center of the heart. Notice how nicely your hands come together and all that space in the front of the shoulders and the upper back. And just a place to bring your hands in. Peace, joy, love, and light. Namaste.